Okay, so right here we have a LED flashlight bulb. Pretty simple, single standard bulb. Decently bright LED from when it was still being used. I cut it off, as you can see, from this end piece. Lines up pretty well. I filed this edge after cutting it with a Sawzall blade that was intended for metal. Just did it by hand quick by slowly rotating it around the groove. As you can see, there's one right there, and then there was another one right there. And this is a brand Defiant. It's a pretty cheap LED flashlight that uses 3 AAA batteries to work, so yeah. And my plan is to solder right here and right here on the metal ridge. I put a little bit of tape on the inside just to, help it prevent from the solder touching the edge. Even if it touches the white part, that's not going to be an issue because that's not going to transfer any electricity over to the positive to create a potential short. And then once that's done, I'm going to put some hot glue on here to keep them set for the wires. And I'm going to be using some pretty decently thick gauge wiring so that way it's not going to break while I'm trying to pull it through. And as you can see, it's 7/8 of an inch. I don't know metric, so I'm not even going to try and do the conversion there. But this right here is roughly an inch in diameter at its widest point. And it's to go into one of these kind of lightsabers. This is the Jackal emitter shroud cover on the Shadow Wolf lightsaber hilt. The idea is I'm going to put a hole right about here, and because of the depth that I have to do, so roughly about, and from the entrance of the emitter, which is right here, that's the lowest portion on it. That right there is just backspacer just to hold it in place. So I'm going to have to put the LED minimum at 1.5 inches. So that way I still have the screw hole right here that I will replace with a retention screw or a thumb screw to hold the blade in place. And then you've got roughly just about 1 inch right here, which means the power switch can easily go behind this ring right here. And then the battery can go somewhere in this area. And with this screw hole right here, I can easily take a wood spacer like this. Sure, it's not perfectly cut, but this is just being used for example, to plug into the pommel section. It's not going to add weight or anything, but the screw hole going right there would hold it in place, and the battery pack will be glued to it, or at least have a little bit of tape holding it on, so it keeps it in place so the battery's not going to, wiggle around. And then the wires would come up like so, up to the switch right up in this area, and then boom, LED blade's going to go in there. Blade will go into position like that. This one is not as far in as it should be, and that little bit of tape is just to be used as a friction fitter inside a PVC handle blade like this. So, but yeah, the LED would come from down here. LED will sit down in this area right here. Switch will be up here as well. Blade will sit on top of it, and also just to give it a coloration, instead of having to rewire a whole brand new LED, put a clear plastic color disc that is roughly 1 inch in diameter that will sit on top of the LED, and then the light will shine through that and it will put a color through the blade. In a very basic wire diagram similar to this: battery, positive, switch, positive LED, and then from LED, negative wire to the battery pack. Right there's the thumb screw that I was talking about, there's the power switch. Simple, basic stunt saber. It's pretty much just a flashlight, but with a blade that lights up sticking out of it that you can fight with. Not heavy sparring because you don't want the PVC to break, but all of this can be done inside a metal hilt. And if someone is willing to go through the time and effort to hook up a soundboard from the toy lightsabers that Hasbro makes, the Blade Builders, or the newer, whatever they're called, style sabers, wire it up, do the same thing, hook the LED here up to where the speaker would be, and then you would also get better fluctuation, and then you can use the little LED that sits on the board itself if you don't want to remove it, and you can use that to light up a crystal chamber inside the lightsaber. So not only do you get light, sound effects, clash effects, sound from a speaker in this area down here, or wherever you want to install it somehow, on-off switch, with combat-ready blade. Like I said, it can be done in metal, but again, that is up to the person who wants to order one like that. A little more expensive, but what do you expect? Metal is expensive these days. So, yeah. Thank you to anyone who took the time to watch this video. I don't know who you are, but ladies, gentlemen, and those of that magical Technicolor rainbow, I bid you a good day.